Hey, what's happening, guys? Dan Darrow here with another Options in Play video update. Definitely some great action in recent IPOs, right? I'm sure you have at least a few that you have heard of or maybe been watching. It's been a pretty good run in terms of strong pricing, some really strong action, and I feel like with the group moving around, it really makes sense to kind of do some work and get some names out there because there have been some really awesome trade setups. Uh, I trade a lot of options, so that complicates things a little bit because not every IPO will have options right away. There's a waiting period and other criteria that need to be met, which I've talked about in videos in the past. So um, not all of the new issues have options, so kind of have to wait around. But the ones that do, they're on my radar. Rocket, all right. You may or may not be familiar with this one. It was definitely one of the IPOs when it came out. I was familiar with because I knew the company, right? And a lot of times that's kind of how it comes down to. Like sometimes you know the company, and it kind of piques your interest. That's what happened here with Rocket. Now it fell into the trade. Well, one of the trades that I look for the new issues, and I call it the ripped and the dip pattern. All right, and basically it's really simple. When things rip out of the gate and then dip, what I do is I look for some sort of turn setup. Right. So in this case, it's basically for Rocket. It was kind of twofold. It was not only did like the stock get back down to like the IPO day low, and it started to firm up, right? You can see that basically it rolled over and it started to firm up around the IPO day low. But they released preliminary guidance, right? And that was the day where I really got interested, is when they released preliminary guidance and the numbers were fantastic. So it was the combination of the stock coming back and retesting support and really strong early news, right? Because that can kind of get momentum going quickly, right? So what you have was the rip, then the dip, and then what I do is I look for the turn, and then once the thing starts to turn, my trade is essentially like a two-part. Sometimes it stretches into three parts or four parts. I mean, it depends on how far it wants to go, but it's basically a two-part strategy. It's A, looking for a retest of the high, so like that would be the first target, and you can see it accomplished that. It accomplished that last week on Friday, and then B is an extension through the high, because a lot of times when IPOs start to run, they can keep running, right? Because there's not well-defined levels of supply. So they're trying to find like that new trading range, like where like the demand is going to be, right? Where the supply is going to be. So a lot of times you'll see when the IPOs get momentum and they trade through like the previous high. So in this case, it was the high from the day after its IPO. Things can really take off, right? So again, in this type of pattern, when you get the rip and then the dip, I'm looking for a curl, so a turn, right? And then I want a retest of the IPO high, and then I want to see extension through it. So right now, Rocket is extending through, but it's also acting strong enough for me to kind of say like, oh, I think I should stick with some because I feel like this could keep going, right? That doesn't mean it's going to go up in a straight line, but I do think that this is one that you want to keep on your radar because it has cleared the high. Now it's holding above the high, and I think at least based off the option activity, it seems like people are still expecting more upside. I mean, a lot of upside call buying going on in this one. So I think it's one you want to keep your eye on. But overall, it's the type of pattern that I'm looking for, right? Like obviously this one worked great. Not all of them work that way, but it's the pattern then, or one of the patterns I look for. So it was the rip, the dip, and then I look for the turn and a retest of the high, right? So that's why I was interested in Rocket, but that's also why I'm keeping my eye on a bunch of different names because there are other ones that are kind of setting up similar. All right. So if you like this video and you're looking for more information on options trading, or maybe more information on trading options on new IPOs, definitely follow up with the link in the description of the video for more information on options to play. Hope you guys have a great night. Stay well, and I will talk to you all tomorrow.